Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di, and today I'm bringing you my April manga haul. So the stack is on the bigger side. I am trying to not use the little table that I have and instead use my desk area here. So things are actually a little bit more manageable because I don't have the table taking up space. But yeah, everything fit in one bag this month, so that's great. It's been a little bit since I've had some overflowing bags for my manga haul. But yeah, let's get into it. So right off the top here, I have volume 7 of Something's Wrong With Us by Natsumi Ando. This is an enemies to lovers. I'm just collecting it until it's done, and then I'm going to marathon read through the entire thing. Definitely think this is going to be something that is going to be right down my alley, but like I said, collecting them all until I have the entire thing, and then I'll just marathon read through it. I have volume 2 of Happy Kaneko's Killer Life. This has story and art by Toshiya Wakabayashi. This was published by Senseis, rated teen. Never even told you what Something's Wrong With Us is. It is older teen, published by Kodansha. Teen, published by Senseis. I'm a little bit rusty. I read volume 1 of this series for our manga club meeting in April, so you can hear about my first impressions on it in my Monochrome Manga Club Series First Impressions video. I will link that down in the description box below. And I was missing volume 2. I had volume 3, so I had to fill in that gap. I'm not going to say anything because my first impression video will pretty much give you my thoughts on it. So definitely check that one out to see what I thought. Next up, I have volume 3 of The Detective Is Already Dead by Nigyozu. Illustration by Umibozu. This one is published by Yen On, rated 16 and up, so that is older teen. This is the light novel version. I've been collecting the light novels because I thought they might be a little bit more palatable to me, as I've heard that the manga actually has a lot of fan service in it. So I've been collecting these. I really need to get to some of my light novels. I don't know why, I just never make them a priority when I'm reading stuff. I always go to manga or I go to actual novels, but I don't do light novels. And I think it might be because I house these with my manga. But I'm definitely going to be focusing on light novels sometime this year. And this is one that I've been anticipating. So I want to get to that one sometime soon. Next up, I've got volume 7 of Spy Family. This one is by Tatsuya Endo, published by Viz, rated older teen. This is another one of those series that I'm just collecting until the whole thing is out, and then I'm going to marathon read, but it does have an anime out at the moment, and lots of people are reading it, and that is a sure sign that it's not going to be something that I'm going to be diving into. So I'm glad I'm one of those people that just collects until it's out completely and then just marathon reads through it. Try to avoid spoilers at all costs. But I think that one's going to be one that I enjoy a lot. I've got another light novel here. This is Full Metal Alchemist, Valley of White Petals. Novel by Makoto Inoue, original concept by Hiromu Arakawa. This one's published by Viz, rated teen. I believe all of the light novels that are coming out are reprints, so I'm collecting them. I have not actually read through Full Metal Alchemist. I read through the first 3 volumes twice. Once for Manga Club and once just because I felt like it. We do have the entire series. We've watched through both animes, really enjoyed it, so eventually we'll get to it, but we're working our way through Bleach right now, and I don't want to go and read 2 long-standing series at the same time, because. So, once Bleach is done, we'll be moving into another one of those long-running series, because I actually do have several. But that is neither here nor there. Back to the manga haul. Next up, I have Volume 7 of Call of the Night by Kotoyama. This one's published by Viz, rated older teen, about a guy who has insomnia and decides that instead of wasting his night away, tossing and turning in his room, he's going to venture out into the night. And he ends up meeting a vampire, and they end up striking up a deal with each other. And so this kind of follows their relationship and seeing how that deal might come to fruition and things like that. We've been introduced to quite a few characters as far as where I am. I think I'm 4 volumes in, so I do have a little bit of catch up, but I really, really enjoy what I've read of this series so far, and I'm looking forward to continuing. Next up, I've got Volume 4 of the light novel of Solo Leveling by Chugong. This one is published by Yen On and rated older teen, 16 plus. This one follows a guy who needs to take care of his sister, so he does odd jobs as a monster hunter, and he is kind of low leveled, and so whenever he shows up at a job, people kind of get a relaxed feeling because, you know, if he's there, that means the job's not too hard. But in their first job in this series, they go into a dungeon that is rather easy, but it ends up being a rare double dungeon, and the second dungeon is actually a very, very high level one. And right before our main character is dealt a death blow, he gets this message in his head saying, "Do you want to become a player?" And obviously it's either be a player or die, even though he has no idea what that means. And so he says, yeah, I'll become a player. And then finds himself kind of in a video game-esque type situation where he's still in the real world and only he can see these mission messages and things like that. Like if you were playing an adventure game where you have missions where you can level up and gain special items to help you level up and things like that. And so he's kind of been given this opportunity to level himself up, and he ends up becoming a high-level monster hunter. I listened to the audiobook of the first volume of this light novel series, and I really, really enjoyed it. This is out in manga form as well, but I definitely recommend the light novel series. For me, the light novel is more of an in-depth view at the types of things that our main character goes through and how he figures out the game that he's playing and how he decides to level himself up, the ways he uses certain things and his reasonings for it. The light novel goes into much more of a detail on that as opposed to how it is presented in the manhwa. I have read the first volume of the manhwa, and so I kind of have a little bit of a comparison, but both ways of experiencing this series are great. I just recommend the light novels more than the manhwa, but like I said, both are great, and I definitely recommend that you check out this series because I really, really enjoyed it. The audiobook is narrated by Ki-hung Lee, and he was in The Maze Runner. So if you're familiar with the Maze Runner movies, he was the one that played Minho, and so yeah, he did a really great job narrating, and I'm looking forward to experiencing that series with his narrations more in the future as well. But I really, really enjoyed reading that first volume of the light novels. And I enjoyed the manhwa as well. I do have a series First Impressions video on my channel for that one as well. I'll link that down in the description box below in case you'd like to hear me talk about the differences between my experiences of listening to the audiobook, reading the manhwa, and reading the light novel. So definitely check that out for more of my thoughts on that one. Back to the manga haul, because I keep going off on tangents. I've got volume 2 of Penguin and House. This one is by Akiho Ieda, published by Kodansha, rated ages 8+. So that's pretty much children's. almost all ages, I would say. But this one just looked really cute. It's an adorable slice of life with pancakes and laughter galore is what it says. I just think these penguins are adorable, and so I'm looking forward to getting into that one. I have volume 5 of Sasaki and Miano by Sho Harusono. This one is published by Yen Press and is rated teen. This is a BL manga. My daughter was very interested in this one, but some of the volumes are getting very hard to come by. I have had volumes 3, 4, and 5 on my purchase list this month, and I've only received volume 5 so far. My mom does work at Barnes & Noble, and so I put my orders through her, and she says she's ordered volume 3 a couple of times, and the order keeps getting canceled because they cannot fulfill it. So that's a little bit disappointing, but at least we have volume 5 now, so we have volumes 1, 2, and 5, so we're missing 3 and 4. So hopefully we'll get the missing volumes in sometime. But yes, my daughter's very interested in this. We're also probably going to watch the anime as well, because a couple of the seiyus we are very familiar with and enjoy do voice our main characters in that one. Next up, I have volume 4 of Bite Maker, The King's Omega, story and art by Miwako Sugiyama, published by Seven Seas, rated older teen. Obviously, this one is covered in plastic and has a parental advisory warning in the back. And this is another one of those series that I've just been collecting. I should jump in sometime soon to see if I'm actually going to continue purchasing these volumes, because this one I'm not quite sure about. And so, yes, I should jump into that one soon. Knight of the Ice, Volume 10 by Yayoi Ogawa. This one is published by Kodansha, rated older teen. This one is about an ice skater who cannot land his quads unless he hears his best friend say his favorite magical girl slogan. We read volume 1 from Manga Club, so I do have a series first impressions video. I'll link that down in the description box below. I really enjoyed it. I read it around the time that the Winter Olympics were on, so that was really great as well. And I'm just looking forward to continuing with this one. Because I enjoyed the first volume so much, I just want to have the whole thing so that I can marathon through it, because it was just that enjoyable for me. Next up, I have volume 5 of Ragna Crimson. Look at that cover. That is gorgeous. This one is by Daiki Kobayashi, published by Square Enix Manga, rated older teen. This is about a guy who is making his living as a dragon hunter. And he gets these, dreams that kind of tell him if he keeps going down a certain path, certain things are going to happen. So he decides to change his future and make some changes in his life, and we kind of follow his journey. I think that's the best way of describing the series. Again, another one we've read for Manga Club. I really enjoyed that one, and so I've been collecting this one as well so that I can read more of that series. I've got Yagi, the Bookshop Goat by Fumi Furukawa. This one looks super cute. I believe this is just a one-shot. This is rated mature, published by Tokyo Pop. So it says it's from their Love collection, 18+. This is a BL story. It's about a goat who loves reading books just as much as eating them. And he works for a strict wolf manager. And I believe they get into a relationship with each other. But I thought that looked super cute. And I'm definitely looking forward to checking that one out. And of course, a character who loves books, right? Can't complain about that. So next up, I've got another one from Tokyo Pop. This is Alice in Bishonen Land. This is volume 2 by Yushi Kawata and Yukito. This one is, like I said, published by Tokyo Pop, rated teen. I think this looks super cute, and so I decided to go ahead and pick that one up. Continuing our collection of the Royal Tutor. This one is by Higasa Akai, published by Yen Press, rated teen. This one follows our main character here on the cover, who becomes a tutor to his friend's son. His friend actually is king, and he's got a group of sons who he wants to kind of rein in, if you will. They have run all of their tutors out by their antics, and so he calls an old friend to come and be their tutor, and so he becomes their tutor and does exactly what the dad wants, but in the process he also kind of changes their hearts on the whole situation of learning and, you know, why it's important, and he also finds out what they want out of their lives as opposed to what their dad wants for them. And so it's a really, really great series. We watched the entire anime. I have not read much of this series, but I think my daughter has read a bit more than I have. But we really, really enjoy this series. All of the brothers have different things that they enjoy. Like, one of them really likes desserts and things like that, and I just really enjoyed this series. The anime was super enjoyable, and what I've read of this series has also been enjoyable. I'm not quite sure where we are in this volume, if we're past where the anime is. My daughter says that we are past in here, so I'm looking forward to seeing what else this series has to offer. Next up, I have Volume 1 of Osan Idol. This one is from Tokyo Pop by Ichika Kino and Mochiko Mochida. This one is rated teen, and this is about a 36-year-old idol. Thought that was pretty hilarious. I think there's an anime out on this one as well, but it sounded super entertaining, and so I decided to go ahead and pick that one up. Next up, I have Volume 5 of Love Me For Who I Am, story and art by Kata Konayama. This one's published by Seven Seas, rated older teen. This one follows a character who's non-binary that goes to work at a maid cafe. And I have been really interested in this series. We have Volumes 1, 2, and 3, and now we have 5, but we're missing Volume 4. And I believe this is the last volume. So I'm really looking forward to getting into this one, especially now that it's complete. We will be diving into it soon. But I do need that last Volume 4. So very, very happy to have that one, and I'm looking forward to completing that series and getting into it. Next up, I have Volume 1 of Roll Over and Die. I Will Fight for an Ordinary Life with My Love and Cursed Sword. Story by Kiki, art by Sunao Minakata, character design by Kinta. This one is published by Seven Seas, rated teen. It says, changing fate at the edge of her sword. To vanquish the increasingly powerful demon lord, Divine Revelation ordained a party of heroes, each blessed with a unique power. That spelled trouble for Flum Apricot, a total weakling of a girl who has no idea what her power of reversal even does. Betrayed and left behind with a wretched slave trader who enjoys nothing more than seeing his merchandise fight for their lives, Flum thinks all hope is lost until she gets her hand on a massive cursed sword. Finally, after so many years, she understands the nature of her power, and both she and her new companion, Milkit, are about to experience a huge reversal of their fate. So I thought this sounded interesting. That art style is very interesting as well. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Next up, I have one for my daughter. This is Volume 1 of My Love Mix-Up. Now, when I had originally asked my daughter if she wanted to read this, she told me no. Come to find out, it was because she thought it was a love triangle between two guys wanting to get with the same girl. And that's not what this is about. This is about three people who each have, like, feelings for each other. So, not quite what she thought. And so, when she finally found out what this series was about, she's like, yes, I'm very interested. And so we picked up Volume 1 when we were at our manga club meeting. This one is by Aruko and Wataru Hinekure, published by Viz, rated teen. And so I had thought that this one sounded interesting. There is a live action adaptation. I believe it's on Viki. And so I think I'm going to be interested in watching that as well. But we picked up volume 1, so we'll see what she thinks. And I'll probably be watching the live action adaptation sometime after we read that volume to see what I think as well. Next up, I have one that I thought was intriguing, so I decided to go ahead and get it. This is volume 1 of Senseis Pious Lie. This one is by Akane Torikai. This one is published by Kodansha, rated 18+, so that is mature. This one follows a woman who is SA'd, and I'm going to say that like that because I believe there's some kind of censoring issue with saying the actual words with YouTube. Any of the normal true crime YouTube episodes I've watched where something like that happens, they always say SA. And so I don't want to get striked for saying the actual words, but I think you know what I mean. So this woman gets SA'd, and she's a teacher, and she meets a boy in her class who is also abused, and I believe they start a relationship with each other. So it's highly controversial content, but for me, I don't often see material that's like this, and truth be told, this is not normally something I'd pick up. But I was curious to see how the issues are dealt with in this manga. So I hear that there's explicit assault scenes on page in this, which is why it's wrapped in plastic, I presume, but it's also rated mature, so I'm interested to see how this title deals with those issues and see how I feel about reading a story like this. Next up, I'm filling in a hole in my collection, and that is volume 7 of The Witch and the Beast by Kosuke Satake. This one is published by Kodansha, rated older teen. The artwork on the covers of these volumes is just gorgeous. I really, really enjoyed the first 3 volumes of this series, and so I've just been collecting them. But for some reason, I missed picking up volume 7 and went straight to volume 8. So now I have volume 7 and no longer have a hole in my collection. But this one follows these 2 characters who work for an agency, and one of them is cursed. And they're trying to find the witch that cursed them so that they can be set free from the curse. And in the meantime, they're also figuring out the cases for the agency that they work for. So I really, really enjoyed this. Like I said, it is rather gory. At least the first few volumes that I read definitely had some gore in it. That didn't bother me, but I know it has bothered some who have read it, but I really enjoyed what I read, and I'm looking forward to getting into this. I think this is going to be another one of those series, though, that I may not jump into right away, because even though we're dealing with cases, individual cases, there is that underlying storyline of them trying to find the witch that cursed the character. And I say that in generalities because I think if I say any more specifically, it'll give something away, and I'd really love for you to find out exactly the specifics of the curse. But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Definitely recommend. And yeah, so I now no longer have a hole in my collection. Next up, I have volume 1 of Black Guard by Ro Hanada, published by Kodansha, rated 16+, so that's older teen. This is by the mangaka who did Devil's Line, and I have not actually read Devil's Line, though I do own the entire thing. I've watched the first episode of the anime, and that piqued my interest enough that I went ahead and collected the manga. So I have heard some great things about this one. It says, survive, they said. Have hope, they said. A dark post-apocalyptic fantasy from the creator of Devil's Line. And so I thought it sounded interesting and went ahead and picked up the first volume. Next up, I have volume 4 of Cherry Magic by Yu Toyota. 30 years of virginity can make you a wizard. Parental advisory on the cover, but obviously some things have happened just based on the illustration on the front. This one's published by Square Enix, rated mature. I read the first volume of the series for the Manga Pride Readathon last year and enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to, so I've been collecting the volumes as I see them. And I think I'm going to be picking this one up in June, now that I have a couple more volumes. But yes, looking forward to getting into that one again. I thought it was super cute. Next up, a volume that I am highly anticipating because this was my mental salvation in April, and that is volume 2 of Cat Massage Therapy. This one is by Haru Hisakawa, published by Seven Seas, ages 10 plus. This series we read for the Monochrome Manga Club, and I absolutely loved it. It was so adorable. Absolutely no plot besides the fact that office workers were going to get massages from these cute cats. But it's exactly what I needed when I read it, because I've been slumping really hard with the things that I've been reading, and I just needed something to kind of rejuvenate me. Thankfully, this was on the slate for the manga club, so I did have to read it, but it was just so enjoyable. I was just so happy after I read this. It kind of lifted my spirits, and yeah, I was just feeling down in the dumps about stuff that I was reading and not enjoying things that I was reading that I really needed volume 1 when I picked it up. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what the cats get into. You've got the little interns who are the kittens here on the cover. You've got the manager and the assistant manager, and there's a very pretty cat on the back here. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about and seeing more of our cute little cats in that volume. Next up, I've got Galax, volume 1 of A Galaxy Next Door by Giro Amagakure. This one is published by Kodansha, rated older teen. This one is about a manga artist, and just as he's kind of reaching his breaking point, a beautiful and scary woman comes to assist him, but there is something almost otherworldly about her. And he soon finds that his life gets turned upside down when she suddenly declares them to be engaged to get married. It says a sweet new story of first love from the creator of the hit manga and anime Sweetness and Lightning. Now, Sweetness and Lightning is one that I haven't read yet, though I have been interested to read it. I don't currently own it, so we'll have to see about that, but it has kind of been on my radar, just not one that I thought I was going to enjoy, because I don't normally pick up a lot of slice of life manga. But this one sounded interesting, and so I thought I'd go ahead and pick that one up and see what that one was like. Next up, I have volume 7 of My Senpai is Annoying, story and art by Shiro Manta. This one's published by Seven Seas, rated teen, and this one is about our main character here who thinks her senpai is annoying, but maybe he's annoying for a good reason. And so I read this one for Manga Club again. Really enjoyed it. Decided to go ahead and collect the rest of what was out at that time, and so now I'm just slowly collecting the rest of this series as it releases. But I really enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to getting more into that series. And the last volume I have here is volume 4 of Dangers in My Heart, story and art by Norio Sakurai. This one's published by Seven Seas, rated teen. Did I pick up a lot of Seven Seas this month? It sure seems like it, huh? But from my understanding, this series follows a boy who seems to have feelings for this girl, but he thinks the feelings that he feels is of the murderous nature and not the romantic nature. And I think that's what he actually feels and just doesn't realize it. And our female character here just really enjoys snacking. I think that's what this is about. I heard about this one from Shay over at Shay Geeks Out. It was one of her recommendations in one of her recommendation videos, and I can't remember which one, but it sounded interesting enough that I went ahead and picked up the first 3 volumes, and now I'm just collecting the rest. I obviously have gone off my rails of doing the buy 3 and then assessing at that time, but with the way things are with publication release dates and stock and things like that, I don't want to take that chance. I mean, obviously you've seen some of that already affect what I've purchased here, especially like with Sasaki and Miano and my issues with that. We've had issues supplying our manga club selection, so every month I have 2 months in advance our selections for club so that they can try to order it, and we've just gotten volumes canceled left and right, can't supply it, out of stock. And so yeah, it's been rather strange. It's been a little bit worrisome, especially with manga club and trying to get things that are in stock so that our members can purchase them and read them for club meetings and things like that. And so I've just kind of disregarded my buy 3 rule and assess. But I'm just not comfortable letting things go that I have a little bit of interest in, if you know what I mean. Thankfully, I'm in a place financially where I'm able to do that and, you know, pay my bills and save for retirement and things like that. And so, yeah. Well, that's everything that I have purchased in the month of April. It's a little less than the last couple months, but I don't think everything that I had on my purchase list has come in yet. Well, obviously, like Sasaki and Miano. But let me know down in the comments below if you've picked up any of these titles and what you think of them, or if some of these titles sound interesting to you and you'll be checking in on them as well. If nothing else, you would just like to let me know that you were here. If you could leave me a blue heart emoji down in the comments below for the dangers in my heart, that would be greatly appreciated and would really help me out. And that will do it for me today. So I hope you're all doing great. I hope you are all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care. And smile always. Bye.